pleased to welcome Andy Davis from Trig Avionics. Andy, we're going to start out the way we always do with you guys because there's always a good answer. What's new?
What's new? Well, this time we are showing our TX56A NavCom. It's a big announcement for us. It's a part of our stack solution. So it's a full-featured COM and a nav, all in a 1.3-inch high box. It's got lots of nice features, monitor second channels, find intersections, and a great built-in database of COM channels and nav channels.
Outstanding. What's availability?
It's going to be available from May.
Okay. Coming up quick.
Yeah.
Price point?
The introductory price is $35.95 on that. So it's very attractive. And we have a companion product that goes with it as well, the TI-106, which is a CDI, a course deviation indicator, designed specifically for this nav device. Although the nav will actually drive legacy indicators as well. It'll drive some of the glass panels and quite a lot of things that are in people's cockpits. So it fits in a number of different roles there.
Okay. Now you guys have been developing the stack for a while now. How is this going to fill in with everything that you've done heretofore, and what can we look to in the future?
It fills out our basic stack offering. We now have the audio panel. A couple of different audio panels are available. We have the NavCom, and we have its sister product, which is just a straight COM radio, and of course we have the TT31 transponder, which completes that stack. It plays well with other people's stuff as well, so you can have a mixed stack, but we have all of the basic components.
Oh, we're pleased to see you do that, because too many times we talk to folks in the industry who get very excited about a new box and then find out that it doesn't work with the rest of the gear in their panel, and they're crestfallen. What can they do?
Yeah, we partner with a number of people to make sure that it does interoperate and works well together with other things. But it can work on a standalone basis as well. The TX56 does actually have a built-in intercom with a stereo intercom, stereo music. So even for a simple two-place trainer, it might be all that you need. But for the larger panel, as I say, interoperability with a whole range of other devices.
Outstanding. What else you got to show us here?
Well, at the other extreme at the show this week, we've also introduced what is our smallest ever new product introduction, which is this little guy. Okay. It's our new TA50 GPS antenna. A lot of the people that we're working with, especially in the light sport and the experimental arena, ultralights, people who want to ADS-B equip, but they just don't have the space. Mm-hmm. We have solutions for them in a normal Part 23 airplane, but one thing you end up with is an antenna that's about this big. And if you have a very small airframe or very limited space, where are you going to go with your antenna? And so we came out with this, which is a little GPS patch antenna. It's tiny. It's less than an inch square.
Smallest I've seen so far.
It is the smallest antenna out there. It comes complete with its cable kit and a connector, which is actually designed to plug straight into our TN72 GPS position source. Okay. The two together, when combined with a Trig transponder, provides an ADS-B out capable solution. It can actually be used in two ways. It can be used in the sailplane community to provide what's called the traffic awareness beacon system. Mm-hmm. So for those guys, that's a great solution. But also in the light sport experimental community, the combination is fully compatible with the requirements of 91227, and therefore it gives those guys a very inexpensive path to a fully compliant ADS-B out solution. Combine it with any of the Trig transponders, and you're good to go.
Well, one thing that your entire product line, by and large, has been known for is not wasting space.
Yep, compact is the way we go. This is, of course, the control head for the transponder. Occupies minimal panel space. It's light, few ounces, and fully featured though, and everything can be done right there on that control head.
About as small as it gets.
Yep.
The overall attitude of the industry right now, as we are working our way down to the 2020 deadline, yep, and the ADS-B gravy train as it's been for the time being, where do you see yourselves positioning once all the hubbub is over? Where does Trig fit into all this post-2020?
Well, I should say a couple of things about that. First of all, we don't expect there to be a cliff stop at the end of this year. As I think everybody knows, there's a lot of people still to equip.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes just out of choice. If you're an infrequent flyer or you infrequently go into the mandate airspace, and remember, a lot of the US, you don't need to be ADS-B equipped if you stay in your patch. They don't need to equip until maybe they're going to go on a longer trip and so on. So there's going to be a tail that stretches well through 2020 as people finish the rollout. But partly because we want to look beyond that, that's why Trig has gone into things like the Navcom and the rest of the stack solution. We do view ourselves as being a general avionics supplier, not just a small number of niche products. And we want to provide solutions for a whole range of different requirements within lighter end of GA.
The competition among the GA avionics community and the system that has developed over the years has been kind of brutal here and there. It's been interesting watching people be innovative, then be copied, and then get shoved aside. How do you stay fresh and innovative when there's kind of a predatory environment out there in regards to how the industry competes with each other?
Yeah, it's not as predatory as it might look. In a lot of cases, vendors do need to work with others and make sure that they have that interoperability that I was talking about earlier. And so we keep an eye on what each other is doing. And in some cases, of course, what you're trying to do is complement what other people are doing. There's not that much room for a lot of head-to-head in the industry. Occasionally, maybe even by mistake, some people's roadmaps clash and you end up coming to a show like this and 3 or 4 people all seem to have launched the same thing and you kind of think, oops, that's not going to work. So by keeping an eye on the ground and seeing where things are going, you can choose your markets, choose your opportunities and try to complement what's already out there. And so that's a way of steering around some of that. But yeah, there is also direct competition. Most of our products do have one or more direct competitors that we are competing against, and so you have to differentiate on some features, whether it's the size, the way it's packaged, some of the technical features, the kind of installations that you can do, and again, what you can interoperate with and what you can't, and that tends to drive people into different choices. But there's lots of good products out there, and you can actually mix and match quite a few of them and get good solutions.
On the other side, while there's certainly a pretty competitive aspect, well, the thing that gives us hope for the industry is there are also a lot of interesting partnerships that come up where some of the companies decide to cooperate and work together rather than beat each other over the head with mine's better than yours or trying to build in development cycles in order to be uber competitive under the circumstances. Is Trig more interested in standing alone, or are you looking at the potential for cooperative programs?
We already do cooperative programs with a number of other people, some of which are what you might call overt and people know about them, and sometimes it's just stuff in the background. We actually participate in a number of the standards bodies, particularly the RTCA committees that design a lot of the standards behind this. And although when it comes to products going to market, it's head-to-head competition, and in a lot of cases, some of the background technologies, some of the design decisions as to how products can be structured, the technical features that go behind them, are actually set in those standards committees. And Trig has representation in a number of those areas where we work directly with competitors, colleagues in the industry to set industry standards, consensus standards. So that there is a whole lot in the background of where we're driving towards what we all agree is possible, reasonable, and what you can do. And then you go back and make your product that implements that and hope that you differentiate it from what the other guys doing. So there's already quite a lot of that technical collaboration and discussion because ultimately we all tend to be pro-aviation, pro the market, and we want to see it succeed. So we do in fact work together quite a lot with other people.
Excellent. The regulatory environment in the States has been one thing. As I understand, the regulatory environment on the other side of the pond has been a bit convoluted in light of the political situation out there. How are you surviving all that?
Oh, yes. Well, if you're mentioning the B word, Brexit, that has been something
I wasn't going to go beyond the B word, but since you let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, that's been slightly stressful. The ambition, of course, is that once our politicians have done fighting with each other, everything will carry on pretty much as before. The UK ought to remain a full member of EASA, and therefore the whole structure there as to how standards are set and how we're doing stuff should remain the same. There is, of course, it should. That's our aspiration. There is possibilities there that it isn't going to work out that way. Fortunately, we actually have another office in continental Europe, in the Netherlands, and we are able to move our approvals and some of our regulatory stuff from one place to another. So in fact, we think that we're pretty safe almost no matter what insanity our politicians come up with.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it weren't for the politics of this business, it would be a whole different ballgame, wouldn't it?
It would be easier.
Indeed. What can we expect for Oshkosh this year out of Trig? You always have some really neat stuff coming up.
That would be telling. But yes, we do expect to have some,
me and
a few thousand other people.
Details.
So we expect to have some great and exciting new products, and we expect to have lots of things to talk about to all of the people who come to our booth in Oshkosh.
Okay. There's an interesting dichotomy between folks who have pretty broad avionics lines within the GA community, such as yourselves, such as a BK or a Garmin, or to a certain extent an Avidyne and some of the others out there. How do you see yourself positioning yourself for the future? Where does Trig wind up in all of this as we go forward?
We still aspire to be one of the leading players of a general broad-based product line, and we expect that to continue going forwards. Some of that will be done through organic growth and new product lines. Some of it might be done with getting in product or technologies from partners or other people. But yeah, we expect to be up there as I guess a player in the industry for some time to come.
Well, you've got such a good foundation. One, your gear has always been so cleanly built. The sizes have always been, you've really economized on space, and let's face it, there's no such thing as a box that's not big enough.
Yep.
I don't care who you're trying to impress. And then on top of it, you've filled in various niches along the way, and you've got yourself a pretty good stack going.
Yep.
And as I said, it's also just an attractive lineup. I mean, let's face it, we're still pilots. We want the things to look good because we have egos to stroke.
Surely not.
Yes. And we want the cockpits to look as good as the airplanes, and you're certainly contributing to that level. So it's fun to watch as you continue to go forward, as you grow your product line, and more important, watching you persevere while a couple fall away or come back or they're gone again or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It's tough to do, especially considering the fact that you're not a U.S. company. And that's got to be an interesting competitive aspect right then and there.
It has its competitive advantages and its disadvantages. We're pretty successful outside the U.S., and that, of course, it gives us a strong base to work from. Here in the U.S., we do have a good representation. We have 400 dealers. We have in-country service and support, and so that's not a significant disadvantage to us working here. So yeah, we're a worldwide player and still growing.
Not bad, Guy. Not bad at all.
Thank you.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 62nd Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from Palm Springs, California, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.